Hi, I'm Stephanie Mercia, and in this video, I'm breaking down Priceline's terms and conditions, also known as the user agreements, and evaluating whether they actually work as a contract. Specifically, I'm looking at the relationship between Priceline and its users. I want to know three things. First, do the terms qualify as a valid contract? Second, are users actually bound to them? And third, does Priceline's current setup leave the company open to lawsuits or legal challenges? So first, are Priceline's terms and conditions a valid contract? In general, terms and conditions are rules users agree to before they use a website or buy a service. Once a user agrees, those terms can become legally binding. Priceline states that using its website, channels, or services, users agree to its terms and conditions. From a legal standpoint, that checks the basic boxes. There's an offer, there's a consideration, and there's an acceptance, at least on paper. So yes, Priceline terms and conditions can be considered a valid contract. But validity and enforceability are not the same thing. This is where things get difficult. For large online businesses like Priceline, courts usually require proof that a specific user agreed to a specific version of the terms at a specific time. That proof might include records like timestamps, screenshots of acceptance screen, or version tracking. In reality, that's a hard thing to do if acceptance is passive or implied. If Priceline can't prove that users actually agreed to the terms, or a court may decide the agreement isn't enforceable. And if the agreement isn't enforceable, things like arbitration clauses can fall apart fast. How the terms are presented also matter. Users need clear notice that the terms exist. That means visible links, clear language, and a clear connection between the user's actions and agreeing to the contract. If users don't reasonably notice that their use of the website is subject to these terms, a court rule that may never truly agreed to them. And at that point, Priceline can absolutely be sued. So, what should Priceline change? My first suggestion is the method of acceptance needs to work. Right now, Priceline relies heavily on implied consent. That's risky. Contract law requires acceptance and most importantly, proof of acceptance. A click-wrap agreement would solve a lot of problems. That's when users accurately check a box saying that they agree to terms and conditions before using the service. Priceline should also keep back-end records that track which version of the terms were accepted, along with dates and basic device information. That creates a clear paper trail. Second, Priceline should rethink the clause that allows it to change without notice. Clauses like this are widely criticized and make agreements harder to enforce. If users aren't notified of changes, they can't agree to them. And if they don't agree, the updated terms may not hold up in court. Notifying users of changes and requiring acknowledgement would make the agreement much stronger and far more defensible. To wrap this up, Priceline's terms and conditions look valid at first glance, but enforceability is a real issue. Without clear acceptance and proper notice, Priceline leaves itself exposed. With a few relatively simple changes, especially around acceptance and transparency, Priceline could significantly reduce legal risk and strengthen its user agreement.